First order of business is working with the budget. We have the libraries here tonight, and we do have a couple of things to discuss about the personal administration, and there was one change to the budget last night by the budget committee that I'll bring up so we can revisit that tonight also. So let's move right on to the libraries first. Are both libraries here?
Yes.
All right, neither of you are waiting for anybody?
I'm with the vice chair and on the chair.
Okay, is anybody else coming or no? Okay, so I guess we'll start with the Thayer Library.
Actually, Amanda, I set up this table for you guys.
Okay, I have a quick question starting off towards the top of the page here. Now, the furnace the town owns, right? So it's part of the building?
Yes.
Right. Okay, so the $500 that you guys wanted to add to it for a maintenance line isn't really necessary because you get this budget doesn't pay for the maintenance on that. That's part of the town buildings. So my opinion is we can take that 500 back out.
We have gotten bills from LG, the most recent one. The only one I submitted to the town, so in the past we paid LG for their maintenance, but there was another company that came to us that was being paid by the town.
Any maintenance that needs to be done to the furnace, you should reach out to Amy or Carrie, and because that's the town's responsible for the building, which also includes the heating system and that sort of thing. So that's something that would fall back on the town and not the library. So you guys shouldn't have to worry about taking money out of your budget to pay for it.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify just on the maintenance for the propane, that $500 that we pulled out. This is the first year that we've pulled out that $500 and created its own line item because the maintenance wasn't truly tracked separately. It was being tracked with the price of the propane, as it was all part of the same vendor and same contract.
Okay, where'd you pull it out from though? Because your propane line's the exact same figure as your current year budget. And last year's budgeted.
Sells their invoice. A lot of times if we have work done and we need fuel, they'll combine them together.
Which is fine. I mean, you guys, you can pay the propane portion out of your budget, but the maintenance portion should come to the town, and that's something that we would have to pay out of our buildings and maintenance fund.
So that seems like that $2,954, we really could have been pulling money out of that and sending a bill to the town.
More than likely, that's what it sounds like, is some of that money probably should have been paid for by the town and not the library budget. But moving forward, just so we know, I know every one of you is new to that board, so there's a lot of learning going on for everybody. Now, in the librarian salary line, it looks like it's been over budgeted for a few years now.
So with that one specifically, what we're planning on doing, because the library with COVID-19, we will have to move to eventually doing appointment systems. That's going to take a little bit longer for patrons going in and out. So with that, we were thinking possibly of expanding the library hours, because our librarian is a hourly employee that would then kind of true up that cost a little more.
All right. How many hours is she working right now a week?
Well,
12?
I think we were also hoping to actually have an online catalog, and we thought maybe we could get some help from some librarians who had some experience in that, and that some of that would come out of this budget.
Which isn't a terrible idea at all.
And I guess we figured because it was budgeted last year.
yeah, and that would be another part-time.
Right, yeah, I see for the last 3 years, the budgeted amount has stayed basically the same. But out of, 2019, 2020 was the highest at 15.2, but only 8,500 was spent out of it.
Did that number also have, halfway through the year last year, I believe there was a pay increase for the librarian, is that true?
Yes, that's true as well.
So that number doesn't reflect the full year's salary,
Current salary.
current salary. Correct.
And the programs you had $500 and you 2,000.
Part of that again is due to focusing a little bit more on community outreach over the next coming year. We've noticed that that's been lacking a little bit. Plus also, again, with COVID-19, kind of think a little bit more outside the box and give us a little bit more flexibility so that we may be able to do something a little bit more exciting or provide a little bit more to folks in our area.
Can I ask you something? How many people can you get there during a week? Do you have any ideas? You guys can set that.
Yeah, monthly we tend to get a couple, before COVID it was about 2 or 3 dozen over the course of a month. Now we're down to about a dozen with folks who are kind of knocking on the doors trying to say, come on, we need a little bit more, we need something.
But that's part of the problem, we're not offering enough to bring
Yeah, it's just,
to the library.
that's what they're talking about now. Yeah, and I agree that because of the COVID, everybody has to do some things a little differently, and sometimes they cost a little bit more money. But we've got quite a bit extra in a salary line and in a programs line. in two different lines, there's quite a bit of extra money there to cover that cost.
You got office computers went up from 900 to 2,700. Explain that.
That one also, we also are taking out, money from our facilities and equipment and really truing that up to which facilities and which equipment it's going into. So some of that $5,000 there is going into the computers budget to true up that we actually do need updated equipment. We haven't had updated equipment in a number of years. With that, there's also looking to expand our online catalog that is going to require additional office equipment. And then, going back to providing more COVID programming, one of the things we really want to do is expand our Wi-Fi so that we do have access that maybe kids could, at least while the weather is somewhat nice, you know, be outside in the library, can spread out on blankets on the lawns there, and the Wi-Fi will be able to reach them so that they'll be able to do their schoolwork and such.
I just want to go back to that librarian salary. You said you were 12 hours a week now.
Yes,
What are you proposing for her to go to?
it's flexible. We're thinking maybe adding another day, perhaps. It all depends on what Karen's schedule is going to be. Plus, there's also the possibility of that additional specialized work in our online catalogs.
And by adding another day, are we talking an 8-hour day?
Probably another 4-hour day like the other ones are.
4?
Again, it depends on her schedule.
There's a description here for facilities and equipment. This line item is being captured elsewhere.
Yes.
Can you define elsewhere?
Part of it is going into some computers. Let's see, where else can we put? Oh, also for office computers and what? Proving that for COVID-19. I think that was the major one.
So it moved from where to where? Yeah.
Moving from facilities and equipment, part of it's going into office computers, and I do believe part of it's going into Comcast for phone internet and software.
Currently, the internet is like really slow. It's at 35 MB per second, over 5 upload, which is like the lowest. So we were looking to increase that to like 100 MB over 15 upload.
I think the internet's really important for us, and that our library is virtually useless. It has been very much just, we haven't been able to do anything with COVID. And at least we have online resources, really useful for the town.
And that packaging would be $159.95.
What was that?
And that packaging would be $159.95, but that wouldn't include the equipment. So I was thinking that we would be better off getting our own glue and powder rather than renting.
Which definitely does work out better in the long run, especially that we can build on our network.
All right, and the last thing on here I have is that exterior maintenance. Again, that's a town building, not a library building. So that 13,000 can come right out of there.
How do we get approved to get anything?
What's that?
Approved to get the town, to get the building painted?
You gotta come in and make a request.
Okay.
I did that already.
To have it painted?
So I spoke with Dale. Dale took pictures, and I inquired about it already, along with the pane of glass that's missing over the farm. And he took a picture of that, and then we were discussing the wall, basement wall, needs some masonry work as well, because there's a lot of water that comes in, and putting a dehumidifier down there isn't gonna solve the problem, because the water's coming from outside into the basement walls. And figuring out how to get that water out of the basement when it does come in.
Right.
That was like a couple months ago, just before the fencing went down, came down around the triangle here.
Okay, but so you spoke to Dale about painting the building?
He took pictures of it, he said it needed it.
Okay,
It was done roughly 9 years ago with a Moose grant, which I found that paper. So, he told me to see about if that is still available. I was gonna have research involved.
okay, well, just so you know, like if there's any maintenance that needs to be done, then you need to reach out to Carrie.
I think Carrie sent Dale there, because that's why he came over. to take
Dale, I think, was
pictures.
looking at the gutters.
The rain gutters?
The
Right.
gutter fell.
He was also there for that.
Yes.
Right, but, I mean, and Dale, I'm glad Dale was able to come out and look at the gutters for you and discuss painting and stuff with you, but any maintenance requests like that need to be done to Carrie, because Dale's,
I did mention it, though.
yeah,
Before that.
so, I mean, if the building needs to be painted, then we need to figure out a way to paint it and put it out to bid, and there's a whole process that we have to go through.
Easy.
Yeah, it's not difficult, but it's another one of those things, it's our responsibility, not the library's, because it's the town building. So you guys shouldn't have to worry about that. You just call Carrie, say, hey, we think the building needs to be painted, and then your end of the work is done. Yeah, no, usually we try to act on,
So the library did pay for to go from knob and tube to modern electricity. So should that have been through the town?
yeah.
That, no one told me last year.
Yeah, that's something that's again part of the building. But it depends, was it part of the rental unit that the library,
No, the discussion was,
No?
just the whole library.
right,
I
yeah,
think the discussion was that we were responsible for the interior, and you guys were only responsible for the exterior.
No, well, you're responsible for the interior as far as the books,
Right.
shelving.
right. The town is responsible for the structure of the building. And like I said, the heating system, anything to do with the structure of the building itself, the town's responsible for. All the library's responsible for is, like Jack said, the books, desks, furniture, that type of stuff.
So going forward, now you know,
Right,
Okay.
it should help you out quite a bit.
right.
Your budget for last year was what? Was this at that 27,420?
Their budget for this year is 27,420. The year before was 30,592. The budget we're in now is 27,420.
How much of this have they used already? It says in my book.
We cut them a check for the whole amount that you do. We don't
Right.
itemize what they spend it on.
Yeah.
They submit a letter indicating they want their funds, we would cut them a check for whatever you guys authorized to give them. So to clarify that, after the audit last year, it was said to just leave the operation budget in its own account, and going backwards, it was never done that way. All monies was combined into one account. So after October, I put the rental money in its own account, operation budget in its own account, And any money, like, outside of that goes into the money market account.
Right.
No more mixing it up.
Amy, do you have a copy of the trust funds?
So how much of your budget have you spent?
Everyone's, you know how, the whole list that we have?
Yes, I don't have it here. So,
That's fine.
I don't have, I have this. But I only have two.
I think we can do a better job spending the money that we have and actually do some of the programs. I mean, we've been shut down for 7 months and we just didn't have a plan in place. We had a board that's just slowly been coming together to actually be functional. So to judge based on what we spent last year is really unfair.
And the reason why I printed out the 3 years is because it will show 2 years where the apartment wasn't, there was no tenant in the apartment. So I believe that some of that expense from the electricity is the apartment.
Really, I mean, if you take out all those maintenance things that you said that the town is now responsible for, our budget's really small.
Right, right,
Last year, every year,
right.
we're not asking.
And after what Frank did last year, so Frank took out the 3-foot heater in the bathroom, and never put one in. So now we can go to propane in that bathroom, we can go to electric. So that's also an increase in our electric. It was a 2-foot heater in the bathroom, which was installed last year.
Right.
Well, I think overall, you're pretty well online with last year's the only thing.
The only thing I'm still trying to figure out here, 27,420 was the current year's budget. If I subtract 13,500, which is the 13,000 for the exterior painting and the 500 from the other line, it's still like an $8,000 increase. And but I'm not seeing exactly where that increase is.
Are you talking about the librarian salary?
No, because that's level funded from last year.
Yeah.
All right, so we did have one jump in the electric, which, that is one of those expenses that we need to look into separating out the apartment versus the library. So that was an increase, $1,000 over.
No.
We budgeted in, sorry.
What you're budgeted for right now, this current year you're in, for Eversource, is $2,000. And you're requesting $2,000. So that's level funded.
Okay.
That's not an increase of 1,000.
Yeah, I think what.
You're going off last year's budget.
Yeah, and I think that's what we were doing when we were going through this worksheet.
Okay, well, then-
Because I don't know what our budgeted number was.
Okay, then that's where the mistake is made.
Yes.
Because I think the proposed budget increase is going off of last year's numbers, not the actual numbers we're budgeted for this year.
That is correct, and I don't.
All right, so we just have to, that's fine, we just have to move a few decimal points around
Sure.
and come up with the accurate number.
All right, so I know that there is an increase in the Comcast, because we know that that expense is going to be there once we upgrade our time. Right now, we're on like the most basic of basic computer packages. That's not really enough to support, multiple people who may be using the library Wi-Fi at the same time. Right now, we can use our computer, and that's about it. So that's where a big chunk of it is going into. Aside from that, that stuff's all set. The office equipment has, I know that that number has gone up. That number is, again, mostly due to upgrading our computer equipment that has not been upgraded in a couple of years. In addition to looking at some of those more tech solutions so that we can help to support more folks out there, either using virtual technology to communicate with folks or to be able to support them virtually at the library itself. That's where, you know, we kind of budgeted at that. We did, I think, no, I think books, materials, and subscriptions is set.
The rental, money from the rentals, where does that go in your account? Now, we use
What's
that-
budgeted this year.
Oh, I think-
And what's requested is identical, but they come up with 47,000.
And it's an $8,000 difference. That's what I'm trying to find.
Town, you take it out of the rental account to fix it.
So,
That going forward from October, that's what the auditor says to do with that money. And then we take the water and, the bookkeeper divides that water bill into two. I can show you an example. And then the electric, there's no way to separate all the utilities. There's not two water meters, there's not two electric meters.
can we put an electric meter for the apartment, so the apartment pays for its own?
That
So-
would have to be an improvement that the town would have to go for.
Yeah, you'd have to
No, that's what I'm
separate
just
the,
saying, why couldn't we do that, so you guys aren't putting that bill?
I don't know why it hasn't been done in the past.
We would potentially have to write a new rent
Well, it wasn't used in the past, you know, so.
off the library, right, so agreement is for
Right now, the original agreement,
electric. But we also could very simply say, hey, we want to take $100 a month from that bank account that we have, and that's going directly
Yeah.
into utilities at a flat rate per month of money that is just collected.
yeah,
Right.
to split that up into two, you'd spend a lot of money.
Oh, it's gonna cost a
Put another
fortune
meter
to,
in.
Yeah.
to put it on a second meter because the whole
Separate
the whole apartment
Living
would have to be
quarters.
rewired.
yeah.
If you don't mind, what does that apartment bring in for income for that?
6,500 I saw.
and it include all
What's that?
utilities by the.
And that
previous-
includes-
500 a month.
Yeah.
But that's part of our compensation,
Yeah.
so we relax.
Yeah.
Amy, did you have something on the Comcast?
Yeah.
I'm looking at everything stayed the same.
Yeah.
So this number actually belongs over here.
I think so.
Contacting them because the libraries and school get internet for free. We do get that portion, the internet free, but we pay for the phone and the cloud. That's the only two charges.
The cloud.
Cloud.
And the internet.
So it comes out to $70.
So on your description though, instead of putting internet, because that's free, you should put the cloud on there, the cloud base.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm just saying. And then up on your utilities, you said that you took the 500 away from the propane. You actually didn't, you just added 500 on. So if you were taking it from it, it would have been 2,500, not the 2,000. So that would be the $500 difference there.
Well, I'm trying to figure out the numbers, this sheet that we're looking at, who printed this? Did you print that, Amy, or did you guys print this?
No, that is what,
I think what,
Mayor, I'm so sorry.
I think what happened,
Yeah, that's Amanda's.
I think
Okay.
everything got shifted
Every,
one column over.
right, everything's just,
Yeah.
everything's in the wrong columns because,
Yeah, because I'm looking, everything's the same.
Yeah.
right. That's why we're getting confused here because it's showing, it's literally showing it as
it's the
level
same-
funded
this is the
except
same
for,
Same thing, Amanda, yeah.
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 Yeah, see, I think your 2021 numbers are actually in the 2019, 2020.
but that total is still, That's 27,282, and it was really 27,420. I mean, we're only talking a $20 difference, or $40 difference, but
Yeah, I can't figure out where the 8,000 is coming from either.
Upstairs in my last year's folder. Located if you really want to look at it.
Well, it looks like at the moment, this might be something that we might need to take back and kind of go through.
Yeah.
And also tease out the fact that we shouldn't be doing the maintenance costs, which is, frankly, has been a lot of our costs with our heating system that's been dying and so on. So, yeah, it would be really great to have the 2021 numbers that we can kind of talk through.
I have the book for 2018 where the library paid for a lot of the maintenance costs. The only thing that the town paid at that time when the furnace was put in was when the furnace was put in.
When was that put in, 18?
3 years ago. And it was just this recent invoice in February that the town, the chief bought the part, and then the chief recommended another company.
Yeah.
And then that invoice and that part came here.
No. Why don't,
Reschedule this?
yeah, I was gonna say, why
Yeah.
don't you guys come back in maybe next week? In the meantime, get a hold of Amy, let her give you the numbers that you need, that she was just talking about. And you can remove the painting.
yeah, I would remove the 1,300 and the 500. The two
13,000 and
maintenance,
500, yeah.
13,000 and 500.
Yep.
The maintenance items that we discussed. We haven't made a motion on that, but it sounds like the board's pretty unanimous about removing that, so I would just come up with a budget that we can actually read. Otherwise,
Are
if
you
we
guys
make,
meeting anytime soon?
Next week, Tuesday.
Okay.
I'm actually looking at an invoice right now, even Denmark, and it was a check we wrote out for $1,745.
That's for furnace maintenance, right? And that was just put in 3 years ago and you...
No, we just put another brand new one in.
Yeah, we just put a brand new one in.
we just put a brand new furnace in there.
And another $1,000 to have it
That
repaired?
was before
That was before the new furnace was put in.
Okay. I'll make a motion to continue this till next week. If you guys think you will be ready,
Next Wednesday?
Yeah, I don't think we really need a motion for it.
okay.
We'll just schedule next week at 6 o'clock, come back in, and
We can do that.
otherwise, I don't want to make a motion to level fund your budget, and it's going to be $8,000 shorter than what you think it really is, so,
Exactly. Cool, thank you so much.
thank you.
6 o'clock next Wednesday?
Yeah, 6 o'clock next Wednesday.
Sure, I heard that.
All right, Conant Library.
Make sure you're here, Gary.
What?
I said, make sure you're here.
Oh, I'm not here.
I know. That's fine.
That'll be all right. Amy can handle it.
Well, seems like they're getting along better there.
Yeah,
Huh?
Seems like those two ladies are getting along better.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
at least out in public.
Yeah.
Now, the director on this sheet that lists the people, the director, is that the librarian?
The director's the library.
Okay,
That's the new name for the library.
okay. I just, in some pages it says librarian, some pages says director, so I just want to make sure it's the same person. I don't see anything that really explains the increase very well.
Well, here in the beginning,
Little letter?
yeah.
Yeah.
Line items.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
$5,521 to wages.
Colleen, you don't have anything that has a breakdown of your line items, do you?
You mean like that sheet that I listed earlier?
Yep.
Breakdown of what?
Like you have the list of your budget proposal,
Yep.
page 101, but it just shows the proposed budget for next year. It doesn't show last year's budget and what in the actual of last year, and this year's what your
Okay, I have
budget.
last year's with me. I have a copy of it, but I didn't put it in here.
Can we get copies made? Please?
Yeah, it's this one. It's a little bit of a rough draft, but it's what I found in Rick's notes.
I am glad to see in the letter, though, that the maintenance part of the budget was reduced to zero, the building maintenance
Yes,
part,
yeah.
because, again, like we discussed with the Fair Library, the town owns the building, so,
And I found in, Rick gave me a lot of papers when I took over for him, and I found in there, a list of proposals. It was done in 2012, and it was a priority list of what needs to get done in the building. So the last 2 months, the Board of Trustees has been working on that, and then I just asked Amy, we finalized it last night, and I just asked Amy to run that off, so you could see some of the improvements we'd like to make to the building over, maybe a 5-year period.
yep.
So,
Yeah, we haven't,
and I think it's very doable. It's not anything you haven't seen before.
Yep.
The basement windows.
right, right.
Pauline, while we're waiting since you weren't involved in this part last year, per se, when Rick had come in and explained to us that the only way that they were able to hire a librarian was to offer the health insurance.
Right.
And I'm a very big supporter of the libraries, both of them. But I voted against it for one reason only, is that the employees are actually employees of the trustees,
Yes.
not town. But you're asking the town to pay a part-time employee benefits, which we don't for any of our employees.
Right.
So for that one reason, I can't support it.
I understand that, yeah.
And I had explained it to Rick. I think there's money in the trust that I don't think the trust were ever utilized to its fullest, because there's what, 3 or 4 different trusts?
Yes. that's
Yeah.
what we're using,
Yeah.
So this health insurance
Thank
here is 15,000, but it says the employee premiums portion is 1,500?
Yes, we
Okay.
started to charge her this year. Last year we paid it in full, and this year, and then, we also have a schedule where she will, right, what is that, 10%? Right?
Yep,
15?
yep.
And go up possibly in the future. I'd also, I would recommend that, we relook at her policy. It's a very generous policy.
Yeah,
And I think that we could probably reduce it, by looking at, maybe more of a copay or, what do you call it, a deductible.
Yeah.
Or,
now is that, so that policy's nothing to do with the towns, Amy?
No.
Dennis Murphy got it through Health Trust. And
Okay.
I personally, I think 15,000 is very high, but I just haven't had the time to.
Is that for a single plan or family?
Single plan, yeah, single plan,
And Amy, I don't know, have you got the numbers for single plans yet or not?
I don't think so, 'cause I don't even know what you guys talking about.
The health insurance for the librarian?
They would be on their own.
Yes, but we couldn't get it through I know Jack had mentioned that the trustees should pay, but we can't group that in with the town and have them pay?
I'd have to double check, I don't think so.
Okay.
I've done that before we were in Dennis capacity, but I can double check.
All right.
and I don't believe that, a lot of the increase in this year's budget comes from that health, because we're asking for a big portion of it. We're still taking more out of the Edith Atkins fund, to cover it. If you look at the increase in the budget, it's mostly due to wages and salaries.
Yeah.
And if you look at that, there was a mistake made. It's higher this year because I don't know if you have the same paperwork that I have, but on the third page, if there's a salary that shows you the history of salaries from 2019 and 20 to 20 to 21 and then 20 the proposed 21 to 22. And if you look at what was budgeted for the director for this year, she should have been at $21.69, but somehow it was budgeted at $20.60, and so her raise this July 1st just went up 60 cents. And so I don't know what happened, but she stayed on probationary and was not put on step 2 when it was budgeted. And so now looking at her for 21-22, she should be going on to step 3 because she skipped step 2, and which gives her a larger raise than normal, but you kind of saved money on her this year. She's young, she hasn't complained about it, and she has access to this. And other board members have told me that they thought there was a mistake in the salary scale in this budget. So,
Now, Amy, I forgot you had given me this so a single plan here is less than half, it's $6,243, but again, if we can't, move.
and I use through Health Trust and Anthem. Like I said,
Yeah.
compared to what my husband and I pay,
Yeah,
it's essentially what my husband and I pay. We're in our 60s and we're 2 people.
Yeah.
So it seems awfully high.
yeah,
I didn't want to step on toes of people who found the policy. They
Sure.
worked hard to do that, and
Yeah.
it wasn't my top priority when I took over.
yep.
But again, I think we're covering it with the Edith Atkins Fund and our income. The other thing that we feel the effect of is COVID-19 because, I generously put down that we make 500 on book sale, that we make 200 on fines, and what's our other big earner? The copier income. I've reduced all those by half. If things don't improve in the spring, we're not going to get anything from those, which is almost $2,000 for us on those 3 things.
Well, the other thing that I was thinking too is, I understand the raise, you want to get her up, but if we could get that health insurance cut in half, she'd be paying instead of $30 a week, 15, which is, 50 cents an hour or something there.
Yep.
Not that I'm looking to take the increase away, but that would help you know,
I totally agree
you
with
know.
that. I just, you know, like I said, somebody worked really hard to get that
Yeah,
policy.
yeah.
It wasn't my top priority.
Absolutely, I understand that.
James, the rate that you're throwing out there, I believe that was last year. I haven't given you guys this year's yet, so.
But it won't be 7,000 more, right?
I thought this was this year's. Maybe not. Okay.
So,
I just want to promise you something. that-
Yeah. Well, I'm not, again, we don't even know if we can do it. I was just trying to,
so, you know, if you have a deductible?
I think if you look at it,
$5,000.
it's only up about $2,000 compared to,
It's 7,000 higher than what they're working with now.
It's a very generous policy.
what's that?
The budget, the request is 7,000 higher than this year's.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, back to that letter, you know, it's,
Right, I get the $2,000 loss of revenue.
yeah.
I get that, that makes sense, but
So I'd be very happy to look into what we can do for the policy. I don't know if we can change this time of year or not, but I don't see why.
oh, I'm just a suggestion that, like, you know,
That's great.
could help. I mean,
And I'd like to get her up, you know, if she's gonna have that kind of plan, I'd like to see her up to 20%, you know.
Yep.
They're taking 20% of the premium.
Why-
It'd be better to get a less expensive
Tim,
policy.
why are the-
Charge her 10%.
why are the payroll taxes so much, why was there such an increase in the payroll
Well,
taxes?
salary goes up the payroll taxes.
yeah, the 5521 isn't just payroll taxes, that's the pay including taxes, Ben, is that what?
Yeah, I meant
Yeah.
yeah, it didn't go up 5,000, what I was saying is
Okay.
the salaries went up, but that included payroll.
Okay, the way I read it was
Yeah.
just the payroll tax went up
Yeah.
over $5,000. I was like, whoa.
I mean, I don't know if you have access to that. This
I see what
one
you're
that
saying,
shows
Ben.
the comparative between last year and this year.
Yep.
And so you can see on there that the payroll tax has gone up about $400.
Okay. Amy?
Just to clarify though, Mr. Librarian worked 40 hours.
Right here, Ben.
I think the town has a policy where only.
I was looking at something different. You're right, it's almost 7,000 some change.
Right, it's 7,543.
What we're saying
Which
is,
part
I
of
think
it-
what Mr. Rose is saying is that.
Most of it
would
is
go
this
for us to get a
5,000,
different policy for her. We're not
Right.
looking for-
521,
The trustees,
I understand, but the town, I don't care.
and then the other 2,000 of it is,
Full-time employees
oh,
are eligible
Okay.
for.
So you think part of her.
So she's part-time, they would have to rewrite their policy offering part-time, is what I'm saying. If she works 40 hours and she's full-time, it may be a difference.
okay, yeah, the 5,521
even if
is
the
everything to do
trustees
with
pay,
wages,
it's still,
including the increase in wages, increase in taxes, all that.
Hmm.
And then the other
So that's
2,000's for
probably- We could make her full.
loss of revenue.
Right.
how many hours does she work now?
She's down to 32, it varies, 27, she works every other Saturday, so it's like 27 and a half, and then for, you know, other
Okay.
week, she's 36. Switching off of the aid, I mean, you know, salary's tough, but you look at those salaries, they're not getting rich. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you look at the aid salary, she's been with us, I don't know, 15 years, and she's making $14.82 in this proposed budget. So, oh, the other thing I added into this year was the substitute. The substitute's never been added before. We've just like depended on excess funds, and I don't know where they came from, to be honest with you. And so I just thought it was more transparent to put down that we do have substitutes at times when the librarian is on vacation or sick. There's a time when there aren't two people there. And I averaged it out from the subs we've paid in the past. It's probably, you know, averages out to like 0.5 a week. It's only 312 added to the budget, but it's more transparent than just trying to cover it with
Yeah.
other monies.
Right.
So it's mainly the wages. I mean, what do you guys,
Only
Yeah.
$800 difference there.
What's that?
That's appropriations,
Oh,
the revenue.
yeah.
But when I was looking at that. The letter was saying 2,000. Colleen, you were saying in your letter that you wrote, that you have down like a loss of revenue of $2,000.
The computer budget was reduced by 2,000. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Okay, oh no, I'm sorry, I misread it.
We have done a lot of updating of computers last year. I think we spent 4,800, I believe, on computers, and they are updated and they're good now. I just don't think it's good to cut budget of computers. I mean, I'd love to see, a system where we can, a projection system in the library. But it's tough to do. So we cut it too fast. We tried to be more reasonable. I cut down the fuel oil. I think that was a little fat from last year. Computers, we tried to come down on. I don't think we went up on anything. We have plans to redo the museum, and I'd like to see more funds come from the community on the museum. And so I've suggested fundraisers like, when we first open it, maybe have a donate, if you want to come, it's a $50 a ticket for those people most interested or something, which is stiff, but it's like a donation, which would help us with putting that museum back together. I mean, it's just a gem. I mean, the stuff you have up there is amazing. And
last week we accepted a bid for the painting and the
we
repairs.
did accept a bid for that. Okay, good. Yeah, that came up at the meeting last night. I knew you had 2 bids in. I didn't know if they'd been accepted, so I'll let the board know. And so that's a real go-ahead too. Once that gets painted, we'll start.
Yeah.
Putting up displays.
Now, you think your loss of revenue is conservative numbers, you think, huh? Because you have only about an $800 difference.
It's only an 800, but we usually make 800 on the book sales, and the board said, well, let's keep 5 in there. They thought maybe in the spring we could have another book sale.
Yeah.
We're gonna have one this October, but basically the basement is filled with books that have been out 5 or 6 years. They don't sell anymore. Even when you offer $2 a bag, they just don't go.
Right.
So what we retracted from a book sale this October, we've decided to hire C&L in Richmond. This was approved last night to have the books removed and disposed of in Keene. These are all donated books. They're not library books. But they've been out for sale for 6 years, and they haven't sold. So we have not been taking donations because the basement is full. And we're trying to get the basement ready, to eventually put in a system where we can have the basement drier. Like if Amy gave you the list of what proposals are, we want to put in more concrete in the basement and stuff. That way we'll have the basement ready to put the Washington, the Washington Library is already down there, but we can put some artifacts down there while we're working to do displays in the museum upstairs. So, what was your question? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going over the numbers of the difference in the loss of revenue.
Oh yeah, the lost revenue. So yes, so the book sale, I don't even know if we'll be able to have one in the spring, but we'll start taking donations again. So all the books for that book sale will be new.
When does the trustees meet again?
What does what?
When does the trustees meet again?
We met last night, so November 10th.
Oh. All right, that wouldn't work.
I can call an emergency meeting, and I need to call an emergency meeting because I put in my resignation because I'm moving out of town. Some of you probably know my house sold, so I'm moving to Jaffrey. And so I won't be a resident as of November 6th, so I won't even be there for the November 10th. But I'm more than happy to come back and work on that museum and continue. I'll get the books cleared out before I go, and the budget done, and,
Well, we appreciate that.
and the audit, and all the stuff's in for the audit, right? So,
My question being was to have you come back, and I didn't know if there was any time there within next week or two, if, you know, to work on these numbers for the insurance, and maybe Amy could find something out also.
The one figure I couldn't verify too, I mean, all these figures came from past bills or, you know, like the audit, we just paid 600 for it, and we budget 650. Was the insurance for the building was 6,500. I'm not really sure how buffered that amount is or where I could find, I don't even know who our insurance carrier is.
Yeah, that's the insurance for the contents.
Okay, yeah, so you insure the building, we insure the contents, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I left it at 6,500, but there might be some buffer in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think,
we could look into the healthcare. And then the healthcare,
yeah, I agree. I think get a couple concrete numbers and maybe see if we can get an estimate on that healthcare. What could possibly be done with it different?
you're looking at the priority list.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then the windows too. We kind of put them in a priority order. But I think personally, you know, we did it as a group, but personally, when I look at the repair and replace, like when I look at number 6 and number 7, in order to get that museum open, we need an elevator, we need access. Unless we're grandfathered in, I don't know. But we need access, like with an elevator.
Yeah, I don't think you'd ever, I don't know how you'd have to redesign the whole building.
Yeah, we've talked about.
yeah, and putting an elevator in, that's a multi-million-dollar project.
And we'd have to do some warrant articles and stuff.
Right.
I mean, if I were staying, I'd do some grant writing and stuff, but we've talked about an exterior elevator that is, you know, there's a couple places in Massachusetts who've done it, and they look really nice, and you want to stay in there. Or, you know, we've also talked about additions on one level, so you're not using that for that floor, but it's just, you know, I don't know, we can't get grandfathered in, you don't think?
So, yeah, we'll have to revisit this one too. This one's probably gonna be a couple weeks, so.
Yeah.
Right.
When are you guys are meeting here, you're not sure when?
You mean for the emergency?
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it last night, because they need to, you know, figure out who's gonna take my place. And so you want me to do that in the next week or so?
If you could, please.
If you could, and just let them know that we need this other information. And maybe, say 2 weeks, we can discuss it again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
6 weeks?
2 weeks. Yep, 2 weeks. That'll give you time to call a meeting, meet with the board, come up with some numbers.
Yeah, like that,
Yeah.
2 weeks instead of one.
Yep.
So 2 weeks to talk about, the healthcare, and to get another quote on healthcare. Anything else?
And the insurance,
The insurance for,
Yeah, right.
content.
Well, thank you very much.
Yep, thank you. It's a long, you never, you know, we've been living in a little camp. So.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna stick with budget stuff for a minute here, just because it's not gonna take long to go over these last couple things. Last night at the budget committee meeting, in the legal line items, the legal budget, The budget committee, voted to remove, $6,400. 5,000 of it was from the attorney fees selectmen and $1,400 removed from the legal expenses. And that was voted on unanimously.
What was the total?
68,100 is the new total. You might have the new paper in there.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what we looked at as a select board was the original total of the 74,005, and that's what we already voted on to move forward with. So I didn't know if we should revisit that one and re-vote on it with the budget committee's figures.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Now, I'll entertain a motion to approve the legal budget at $68,100.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Now, in personal administration, there's just a couple questions. We can't go through the whole thing yet because Amy still doesn't have insurance numbers and whatnot.
I don't.
Right, there's nothing in,
I do have insurance numbers, you guys have to decide which insurance we're going with,
right,
so I can put the numbers in.
right. There's two different options on the insurance. I don't think
Yeah, we don't.
we don't have those options yet. Amy's got them right there in her hand. But also, while Amy's handing that out, we have to discuss whether we want to do a TAN, not a TAN, sorry. I don't want to do a TAN, but we have to. If we want to give cost of living raises or merit raises or any raises or no raises, we haven't discussed that at all.
Well, I want to take some time to read this, so.
We're gonna be doing the library next week. We can do this next week.
Well, when do you need these numbers for, Amy?
Well, I can't do the numbers until you, I mean, I could go through it with you. The first page that I gave you
Yep.
is just a breakdown of what it's gonna be. If you look right here, where, the plan that we have right now, the total cost of the town will be $249,754.
Yep.
No, I don't.
Right here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, there's a new plan that they're offering, which is less. So if you turn the page, the co-pays are a little higher. Instead of right now, we pay for a visit co-pay $20, it would be $25. And then for a special visit, we pay $40, it would be $50. The walk-in was $20, it would be $25. So it's gone up a little bit. The only real big increase is the deductible. It went from $1,000 to $3,000. But the savings on this plan is down at the bottom of the other page.
$68,000, 68,400.
Yep.
It'd be $181,368.66 cost to the town, which would be a savings of $68,415.78.
Well, I can tell you my deductibles and my co-pays went up way more than this, so this
My
is
deductible's
definitely in line with what's
$7,300.
out there.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I can't afford insurance, so my deductible's a full
And
bill.
This is through,
This is through Health Trust. I know you guys.
that's the same Pauline was just talking about?
Yes.
Yep.
Now, last year you guys did make a motion for me to contact other insurance, which I did. And the other insurance told me that, asked if we had a broker now, which we do with Health Trust. They wouldn't even give me a quote, because they're just gonna quote you the same amount as what Health Trust does. I did contact, a local rep for one of the selectmen's recommendations.
Yeah.
That's more or less a, individual one. Now, what they are also offering, Health Trust is, if you guys choose to go to the other plan, because the deductible goes from 1,000 to 3,000, they have a service called HRA. So you can sit there and put like an amount, let's say, $8,000 into a line item. So if somebody has a surgery, or they have to have an MRI or something, and they have a deductible,
HSA.
I'm sorry.
No, it's different than that, Gloria.
Okay.
Yeah.
She threw me off the gate.
HRA.
So you put it into a pool, so if somebody has to have an MRI or surgery where they have to pay that deductible of $3,000, the town could actually make a motion or a policy to pay like maybe $1,500 of it, then the employee will be responsible for $1,500. Now, if nobody has surgery done or an MRI where you have to use it, then the town doesn't have to pay for anything, it just sits in that line item. It's only used if an employee has to use it.
Does it roll over? Or is it use it or lose it?
No, you're not paying again.
It's not specific for each employee, so
Okay.
it would be just part of the budget at the end of the year. If it's not used, it goes back to the taxpayers and it's rebudgeted for next year.
Okay.
So then you're looking at the employee looking at a $500 increase on the deductible
Unless you
rather
set it
than
up
a
as a
$2,000 increase on top of the deductible.
Then it would stay there.
My only question on that is, what happens when that's used,
Right.
say that's used up in the first 3 or 4 months? Now the employee that comes along,
Somebody accident prone employees, you can use up $8,000 because say one individual has a surgery plan or something. So once they meet their deductible, that skips about the whole year. So it's not each surgery, it's each person.
yeah, but I'm just saying Murphy's Law, if you're gonna give 1,500 to each employee, 5 employees go in.
Not giving it to each employee, it's in a line item.
To pay,
Yes, but if 5 employees go
Need
out
it.
for surgery in the first 3 months, that's $7,500 gone, there's only 500 left. A month down the road, somebody else comes, they only get 500.
I'm just
And I-
gonna say knock on wood, it hasn't happened yet.
I know it hasn't, but it can, that's,
I'm
yeah.
not arguing with you about that, but.
That was my concern about basically
And
the
again,
the balance of
it probably never will, but
would it work out better, like Jack just mentioned, would it work out better to set it up as a capital reserve and not a,
Well, if you set it up as capital reserve, then it's there forever.
and it can roll
It
over?
doesn't- Right, it can roll over like Gloria just asked.
Yeah.
That doesn't solve the issue that James had brought up, but it solves
Well-
the issue of having it roll over.
back,
But the other way to look at it, if you put it into a line item and it doesn't use for that year, then the next year you just put it in and it just goes back to the taxpayers anyways.
well, back to Gloria's, she mentioned the HSA, the health savings account. What if you set up a health savings account for each employee and put in X number of dollars, and then when they've used theirs up, they've got to pay, the additional deductible out of their pocket?
That is, we have the health, we do have the flexible spending in which the employees can contribute up to $2,500 into that. The town pays for $500 each employee, but the employee has the option to add to that up to $2,500.
So you already have that, basically.
I was gonna say, then why don't we just continue with the flex plan?
Yeah, do the flex plan and,
We already have a flexible.
Right,
Well, then-
continue with it.
yeah, and use the flex plan and that's it.
Yeah.
So are you gonna raise the flex plan up?
No, just continue the way it's
Well-
budgeted now.
So then the employee's gonna be responsible for the $3,000 deductible as a whole versus the $1,000 that we're having now. So you're asking your employees to do a $2,000 increase for a deductible.
Well, but again, you said it doesn't happen much either, so.
It doesn't, but to that one employee, that could mean a lot.
Well, it's
it
savings.
sounds like worst case scenario on who's doing the arguing.
Savings of $68,000, I mean,
Yeah. Well, like I said, this is a lot more in line with
and
what's
my
out there.
deductible's $7,300 a year, so,
I'm putting it out there.
yeah,
Yeah, my copay's 40, so, yeah. Can I go on this insurance?
Any other, what's the, employee contribution again, Amy? You said 10%? Oh, right here, yep, 90% and, yeah, 90% employer. How much what do we put in the flex plan? 500.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
I'd be willing to put more in the flex plan for them, if, you know, kind of meet in the middle here somewhere if we need to.
Yeah, I'm,
Well, here's a meet in the middle part, it's 90-10.
Can I say something though, by adding more money to the flexible spending, you guys can do what you want, but it's gonna cost you more money. All I'm asking is that you put $8,000 into a line item, because if you raise the flexible spending, you're giving every employee that extra money. Okay, that's guaranteed. This money that you're setting aside in this line item for in case somebody has surgery or an MRI or something, that's the only time it can be used. Nobody uses it, then it sits there and it goes back to taxation.
It's for catastrophic.
Yeah, but again, my thing is how do you decide who gets how much? You know,
Because
with 29,
Say you're an employee and you have to go have an MRI done.
Yeah.
Okay? So you're gonna be billed $3,000 off the top.
Yeah.
Okay? So Health Trust, if we have this policy in plan, they're gonna go ahead, they're gonna pay the $1,500, if say the town pays $1,500, they're gonna pay the $1,500, then they're gonna bill us $1,500. Then the employee is responsible for their half, which is $1,500.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah, I think.
But again, it's
But I don't
15
think that's what he's asking.
if, again, back to the worst case scenario, 5 people in the first 3 months exhaust this $8,000, the next guy in line gets nothing. And I
No.
understand we could make
Right.
that 8,000,
No,
12,000.
the guy-
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
right,
Yeah.
and the next guy wouldn't get nothing, because if we make a motion to do this, then we can't make a motion for the first 5 people get it, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's all or nothing.
But I know it's basically the worst case scenario that you're saying. Past history, maybe 2 claims have gone in. From this town. So, I mean, I could be biting myself in the butt for saying that because the next year everybody could get hurt. I wouldn't know that.
Now, what
Then
about,
the VA would say, I told you so.
so the health savings account, instead of doing, that can't roll over from year to year? Amy, is that what you said? So if
No.
they don't,
Whatever's not used in flexible spending comes back to the town and goes back into.
That's the flexible spending, that's not the health savings, there's 2 different
oh,
things.
that's right, the flex plan, yes.
Yeah, FSA is different from an HSA. HSA is generally, you put in what you want,
Yes,
and
you can use it for
and then you
dental,
can use it for
medical,
anything,
yeah.
and then that usually rolls over. But those are high deductible plans.
I definitely like the new plan.
Yeah,
The plan itself looks pretty nice, but the savings is pretty nice too. But I do agree that I would like to see us put something aside to be used, to be able to be used to assist with any of those $3,000 copays.
We don't have the paperwork. What's the current budget for the flex plan?
Current budget for the flex plan.
I wasn't even gonna touch the flex plan.
No, well, I'm asking.
I don't have,
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. It's $500 per employee, so.
29 people or something, it's not that many though, right, that take the insurance, 12,500.
I'm thinking personally, and the rest of the board can tell me how they feel, but if this new plan is gonna be a cost savings of 68,000, I agree with James partially that 8,000 might be a little low, because like he said, worst case scenario, but I also don't wanna put $1,500 per employee for 25 employees aside too.
I mean, if we did 15,000,
I was thinking 10.
10, huh?
I was thinking 10,000. If we did set aside, created new line item with $10,000 to be used to cover up to $1,500 off of any of the deductibles greater than $3,000. I would make that a motion. And also to go to this new plan.
For those catastrophic events.
Anything over $3,000 deductible, which would be the catastrophic.
Right.
I'll second that.
Is there any other discussion on that?
Yeah, well, you guys can vote. I'm not voting on it yet until I run some numbers here, so.
Okay. I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No, I got a lot of questions here that I need to ask Amy. It's like the deductible. If somebody uses the deductible, every time they go to the doctor or visit,
No, that's once a year.
it's once a year, the deductible, that's what I need to know.
Something major, when you go to the doctor,
What?
there's a copay.
Once you meet the 3,000, it's for the year, calendar year. Yeah. So it's not each visit, Chan.
I was
Yeah.
Town pays
annoying.
for the year.
No.
27. But for employees, it equals $98.
Right.
All right, so this is monthly?
What are you looking at, Jack?
Yes, it has to be.
Amy,
Yeah.
Multiply it by 12, which is 12 years.
yep,
I'm not sure what he's actually looking at, but it is based on monthly.
right. Well, he was talking about, for instance, the cost of a family plan.
For the new one,
No, on this front page.
Yeah, that would be the new, that would be.
Oh, yeah, that is the new one, sorry.
for the new one, yes.
Um,
So it's $1,660.87.
yep, that's a month. Okay,
Hold on.
Town pays 90%, so that brings it down to
Oh, okay.
$1,494.79 multiplied by 12 months is $17,937.48. And then it's times, currently we have 4 employees at that. So that's right, it brings up to $71,749.92.
right.
And then, if you look at the single plan, I do have that extra amount, that $3,321.78. That is just the employee that works half year, and then water and sewer as well. So water and sewer will pay that portion, and then the town pays the other.
Do you understand the deductible now, Chan?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying now. I had it in my mind the other way, that's all.
Oh, yeah, no, they can't get up to $1,500 every time they go to the doctor. No,
The employee wouldn't get it anyway, so you're not giving it to the employee. Health Trust would bill the town, and then we pay it. So it's not like you go and have surgery, we're gonna cut you a check for $1,500 to pay that copay. We pay it directly, it's not going to the employee.
right.
Does the town pay the full amount and then get the
No.
1,500 out of the employee?
$1,500, and then it would be up to the employee to pay their $1,500. So
Right.
Whatever is
if they
left.
get flexible spending, the $500, that could be used towards it, then they have to come out with $1,000 out of their pocket.
Right. We don't pay the full bill and then go after the employee for it. We're not a, we
I was
don't,
looking at it, it's a
right,
good plan here, and saying,
right.
All right.
And whatever's left then at the end.
You ready to
of the-
vote?
Wait,
You guys already did.
We already voted, but Channy said he had a question and his question was answered. I mean, do you want to revote and revisit it and revote? I mean, we already got 3, but I didn't know if you wanted to be on record voting no or if you wanted to change. Doesn't matter, 'cause it's still passed no matter what.
I have one more question. Sorry.
It's all right.
We pay 90% of the employee's insurance, correct?
Yep.
Correct.
Should we be looking at raising that I mean, lowering that down so that we aren't paying so much, is that gonna help us any?
It would help you a little bit.
I mean, let the employee pay more money for the plan, if they're gonna get that plan.
Well, we're not doing a better plan. You would have to pay more.
This is a,
That's all.
So they're already paying more.
We're not
the,
getting
that's
better
my
than we
point.
currently
The, my
have.
point,
This
you're
is
giving
why
them, now
we
you're
raised
giving them
our
three things.
flexible spending, because we
You're
have
still
better
going to give them
planning
10%.
than what we have
You're giving them
currently.
flags, and
But
now you're giving them
because you guys wanted to
deductible.
lower our plan, you gave us an additional 250. Well, you did, everybody else was on board at the time. But you gave an additional $250, so that's why it's $500 for the employees. Now to compensate for all the increases on the co-pays.
I have no more questions.
No? All right, and back to,
10,000 in the line item.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And now back to, I don't know if we want to discuss it tonight, or if you guys, anybody needs to think still or whatever, but we got to talk about whether we're gonna do any type of raises or no raises.
Make the motion to go with that new plan and then.
We did already.
Can you sign up?
Yeah, it already passed.
Now all you have to do is push a couple buttons, you have your budget.
Can you repeat what you said? 'Cause-
We need to discuss whether we want to do any raises or not this year, or merit raises, cost of living raises, no raises. Last year, we did a little of each because, and I helped push for that last year because it had been a few years since any raises were given across the board.
Well, I say the same thing every year. I base it off of Social Security increases. The report came out this morning. There is going to be an increase, but I'm not sure the percentage of that increase, so I would like to wait to get those numbers.
Okay.
That's just me. I mean, there's 4 other board members. You guys can vote the way you want.
Yeah, I don't even know what my increases at my job are gonna be yet.
I believe I heard the social security was 2%.
That's what Channel 9 was reporting.
I'm not saying that you lie.
All news lies. But the other thing is, remember me and Roberta had this discussion a few years ago. I was just telling James there was a, Social Security went 2 years without anything. They got a 2% raise, but their insurance went up 7%. So actually, they got a deduction of 5% that year. So.
All right, so, well,
Well, just in case you guys are curious, I had my maps, what it would be. I came prepared, Jack, just for you.
I've already seen them.
You did?
Yeah.
All right, so are you happy with them?
I didn't say I
What's-
paid attention to them. I just saw them.
what amounts do you have?
All the raises.
Like what the total would be if it was a 2% raise?
1%, 2%, or 3%, yes.
Oh, look at that. Huh,
And I was
that,
asked to put these figures together by another select board member.
That was me. I'll take the credit.
I didn't get one.
I'll take the blame,
Yeah, I
I
don't
guess.
have that.
I'm sorry, let me go and make copies for you.
Well, I mean, we can't vote on something we don't have in front of us.
Well, we're gonna spit out the number.
Yeah,
It's just,
okay. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I mean, I'm glad that I have this actually, so,
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice breakdown, but like I said, I always look after the retirees, and I want to see their numbers before I vote.
well, I was personally thinking of a 2% anyway myself.
well, we need the budget, whether we give it a, that's, you know. But,
I would like to see 2%.
I mean, like I said, last year we did both the cost of living and the merit raises to help get everybody back
I don't know,
on.
I don't know if that was the cost of living adjustment and.
No, that's just the
No,
2%.
Just the 2%.
Yeah.
So the cost of living increase is gonna be on top
Well,
of this?
it's up to us. What, do you want to do a 2% cost of living raise, which means it's 2% across the board, or up to 2% merit raise where it's done on reviews? And,
So across the board, 2%.
and some people doing it merit raise, some people that get good reviews get the 2%, and people that don't get the full 2%.
It's right here on the bottom.
Well, I'm just gonna throw it out there and we'll see where it goes, but I'll make a motion that we do a 2% cost of living raise.
I'll second that.
Don't need them, man.
I'll still take one because I'll be interested in the numbers later.
Yeah, I wanted
I
to-
think we should go with them. I'd rather see the 2% merit, but,
2% merit.
yeah, that way we can do the reviews and,
Well, either way, you still budget for 2%, because you have to,
This was brought to my attention, you know how much I love eating crow. But it's 1.3%. It was.
that's it, so, retiree. Yeah,
I just looked it up.
So
yeah.
James, you'd rather see merit?
But, once again, now we need to know what the increase or decrease of the insurance was also to balance off what the actual raise was.
well, we asked the department heads to do a review. Why have them do a review if we're not gonna do a merit raise?
Right,
That's
Yeah.
pointless.
right. Yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to change my motion to a merit rather than cost of living.
Second that.
Okay. All those in favor of a 2% merit, up to 2% merit raise?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Yeah, I'm not voting until like,
Jack abstain. So motion passes 4-0. Okay, moving on to the rest of our meeting at 7:30. First order of business is to approve the minutes from October 7th.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries.
I did not hear who seconded that.
James and Channing. So we put out the request for bids for the sewer department, stumping after the trees removed, and we got no bids.
make the motion to have Leonard W. Lawrence do the work.
Well, we did get a bid, but it was just that one, yeah, right?
Yep.
From Lenny.
Right, Lenny came in, wasn't really a bid, it was just, this is what I'll do it for, and it was after the bid process. Okay, and the Lenny Lawrence excavating price was $18,950. Motion was made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next, we have a
Oh, I have
perm,
a question for that, though. Rick, does that come out of your budget?
Yes.
It does?
yeah,
Okay,
Capital.
okay.
right. Next, we have a permit for the sale of raffle tickets from the Arlington Grange.
So moved.
No, I didn't say what it is.
Well, I'm ahead of it.
It's for the month of November. They're doing cash drawings. Motion was made to approve by Gloria and seconded by Channy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. I thought I was in a hurry tonight. Next, we have a land use change tax for, map 36, lot 7,
Keene Road.
1 Richmond Road.
No, Keene Road.
Oh, Keene Road.
One Richmond Road's us.
Yeah, I'm looking for the address, and that's the only address I see.
Keene Road.
A number on Keene Road.
There is no number, it's a piece of land.
Okay. And that was for, the total on that was $500.
Make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. There are 2 pages to sign on that one. Next, we have the application for the grant application for the Town Beach ramp. Just need a motion to approve this and allow me to sign it.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next, we have a tax levy. It's a timber tax. Yep, timber tax for map 12, lots 17, 18, and 19. In the amount of $1,738.04.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. There's 2 pages on that one to sign. Next is a water abatement for map 24, lot 4, 339 Richmond Road. This was one of the lawns affected by the water main upgrade, and the town ceded the property, and they watered the lawn throughout the drought to ensure lawn growth. And the total amount requested is $441.77.
So moved.
And Rick did approve that.
Yep.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
What are the lawn through it?
Opposed? None. Motion carries. We have the oath of office paperwork. For 3, 4, yeah, 4 people that I already made motions to appoint, but it's all for the broadband committee. Denise Frazier, Leonard Picard, John Parker, and Jennifer Bellin. We don't need another motion, we just need to sign this. And next, we have an intent to cut, and there's no motion needed for this either. And this is for map 4, lot 31 on Bolton Road. I think so. Yeah, it is right here. It's attached to this. 18950. Then, Chief Tolet, who's been sitting very patiently back there, has a request in here. Current tasers at the police, well, actually, I'll let Mike come up and explain it. Oh, the microphone got moved way up there. You can sit down if you'd like. Just don't fall asleep.
No, this is like a Supreme Court nominee confirmation hearing.
Yep.
Let's hope not.
So essentially, I'm trying to get the most value. The current TASER program that we have this year, essentially, we can upgrade. I've worked out with the rep to where the first 2 years of the upgrade equipment is actually less than what we're budgeted for right now. And then this time next year, planning for the 22-23 budget, I'll need to increase my contracted services line approximately $3,800. But we're planning for that, so we already know what the third, fourth, and fifth year payments are going to be. Essentially, it's like trading in your car. We're in the fourth year of this program of the TASER equipment that we currently have. By trading it in now and upgrading to the newer equipment, I'm getting the most bang for my buck with my trade-in. That's the essential, that's it in a nutshell.
No, I noticed the first 2 years is like $1,300 or $1,400.
$2,750.
Yep.
And then it goes to like almost $8,000 for the fifth year. Why is that?
$73.36.
I wanted to roll the higher dollar amounts into the third, fourth, and fifth year. Chances are, I mean, I could have them reshuffled it where we're paying a higher amount now and a higher amount in year 2. But instead, I wanted a low amount this year, a low amount in the second year, and chances are we may pay that $7,800 for year 3, but chances are good TASER will have a new product, and in the fourth year, I'll trade in the new equipment and we'll start over. It's going to be a perpetual game, if you will.
Well, what's the life expectancy on them? I mean, obviously, you don't use them that frequently, I assume.
We use them, we do not deploy, we don't fire the TASER often. What we call is draw and present it. Put the lasers on someone, we use that fairly often. Typically, if you got a subject that is non-compliant and you pull a TASER out and turn it on, you got 2 red dots on your chest, most people are going to know you're serious at that point and comply, and it de-escalates the situation. The current TASERs that we have, they're called the X2s, we replaced those 3.5, 4 years ago, and that's because it's a money-making business. The TASER is just like everything else. They're constantly upgrading the products every few years. If we keep the ones we have, after this next year, I'm going to have to budget in for an extended warranty. It's cheaper in the long run to purchase new equipment, because otherwise we keep the ones we have, and eventually, just like the ones we had previous to the current ones, they'll stop repairing those. TASER will say, no, we're going to repair them. If they break, we got to buy something new anyway. So, number one, we need the TASERs. We've had them here since before I've been here. They're a good product, helps de-escalate the situation. We were talking about health insurance. With TASERs, you have less use of force issues, meaning I don't have to go hands-on with somebody. That's when people get hurt, either the suspect gets hurt or the officer gets hurt. So the TASER is needed. I'm simply just looking for permission to upgrade the current weapon system to the newest weapon system.
Already have it in the budget, right?
Yes, it's, yeah. This year is not an issue. The budget that the board approved a few weeks ago is already budgeted for next year's TASER payment anyway. And with this, the way I've got it worked, it's actually $600 or $700 less next year than it would be with the current system. So essentially, I'm just looking for approval to continue on with the TASER program. Yes, it jumps up in year 3, $3,880. that's something we can budget for and rearrange next year.
So what's the difference, Mike, between that and the, what's the price tag on the extended warranty? Just so we could have two numbers.
I don't know though, because I don't have to have an extended warranty at this point on the Taser, because I've got another year left in the program. It's just like anything else, they're going to want you to buy a new product. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you that Taser's not out to make money, they're out to make money.
Oh, every company is, otherwise they wouldn't be in business.
Well, that's why I wanted to know, you know, I mean, are they good for 20 years? If you just point those two dots at somebody, does that affect the
Well, you gotta
longevity of
replace the
them?
batteries, because they have a battery in them, so you've gotta replace the battery, that's gonna cost you money. I will equate it to the body camera and cruiser cameras that we now have. Last year, we paid $1,100 or $1,200 for the warranty, because the cruiser cams and body cams that we currently have are old. They're 3-4 years old, and that's old. So last year we paid $1,100 or $1,200 to extend the warranty, so if something breaks, they fix it. In 1 year, it's jumped $700. It's $1,800 this year. Next year, because they'll be older, that extended warranty will go anywhere up to maybe $3,000, $1,800 to $3,000. You know, so as the equipment gets older, the warranty cost is going to go up, because if it breaks, it's not going to be something small that typically they have to fix. They have to replace everything else. Tasers, keep in mind, it's a mini computer inside that system. I mean, so there's I don't understand how it works inside it, but it's an expensive system to upkeep.
Any other questions for Mike on this?
Did you answer, James, as far as how long they last?
I have no idea how long they will last, because we've never kept them any length of time. The previous model that we had, they quit making it probably 4 or 5 years ago, and we had that model 2 or 3 years after they stopped making them. They're going to stop making the current ones we carry now within the next year or so, probably, if history with Tasers any indication. That's what they do. It's just like the iPhone or any phone system. They come out with a new phone every year or 2 years.
Now, one other question, is it possible to replace them as they become no longer usable? I mean, and again, I don't know.
What do you mean, like to buy them off of eBay or something?
No, go to Taser and say, okay, we just had a unit fail, we need to replace it. Can you buy them one at a time, or do you have to enter this contract with, I don't even know how many you have?
It's like everything else, though. If you buy them all at once, you get a better deal. If we just went
Yeah,
up,
but if we're buying them every 3 or 4 years versus we get 15 years out of one, that's what I want to know, you know?
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to get 15 years out of one. Will a Taser last 15 years? Probably. Maybe. But they're not made to last, to be used 15 years. Taser's not set up that way. That company's not set up that way to have a product that lasts that long. If Taser had a product that lasted 15 years, Taser wouldn't be making any money. You also have to keep in mind with the new system, it's upgraded software. The download capabilities are faster. So it's software, it's the weapon itself. The new Taser that I'm wanting to go to, different batteries that are supposed to last longer, so I don't have to buy batteries or have those replaced. These are rechargeable instead of just throwing them away and replacing them. It's a better system altogether.
Mike, is there any competition out there for them? Or are they gone to the market?
No. You can buy Tasers and different Volt stun guns on eBay, Amazon, those different websites, but Taser has the market. Taser also makes body cameras and all that type of stuff. I mean, they have a big share of the market. And really this, just to say again, this is not costing us, I have the money for this year, this $2,700, I have the money in the budget. I'm budgeted for it next year. yes, a year from now, I'll be sitting here saying I need $3,800 added to that budget line, and/or a smart, good department head comes to you and already has it figured out where I'm not asking for $3,800 because I'll take from another line and move things around based on how I run the budget this year.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve Mike's request.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion on this?
How many currently do we have?
How many tasers?
Yeah.
9.
Do they have a special charging unit that they set in, like?
Yes, they do.
And they're, since we have so many, they must be, what's the word I'm looking for? Allocated to individuals.
Yes.
You don't share them.
No, each office, we have 8 full-time officers. Each officer is assigned a taser, and then the 9th one, our part-time officers use it stored in the safe. So when they come on, they use that one.
Yeah, I just figured that they were there in the office, yeah.
Any other questions?
Well, actually, yeah, once you explained it, I like the idea. We're gonna be saving that money. The only question I have in my mind is that 3rd year, you know?
Well, right. Yes.
Are we gonna be able to roll this over one more time and keep on with that? Or are we gonna take that big jump?
Well, look, are you talking about the $3,800 difference moving from $2,700 next year to whatever it is, 78?
7336.
It's a $3,880 difference. As I said, and I've shown that I handle the budget well, I'm gonna work it to where I come here next year at budget talks, and instead of asking, and this is being recorded, instead of asking for $3,880, I'll work my budget, whatever lines I didn't use as much of this year. Yes, I'm gonna ask for an increase in that line going into the 22-23 budget. I'm telling you now, I won't ask for $3,880, the difference. I'll work the budget to make it where it's not costing us more.
Well, that only means that there's already extra in there, right? Somewhere.
There's always extra in there, isn't there?
All right, I just wanted to.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Did you vote?
Yeah, I said aye.
Okay. None, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Mike.
You might-
Next we have in the financial folder, we have a request for payment out of the road maintenance and repair and reconstruction capital reserve fund for $93,336.02 to Allstate Asphalt.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Next, we have 2 requests for payment out of the church steeple repair fund. One for $3,000 to Robert Morgan Company, one for Scully Architects for $625.
I wanted to talk about holding back on those until we get this issue resolved, Mike. I mean, obviously.
I don't think, because this isn't final payment yet, is it, right?
We already paid that 2 weeks ago,
The
final payment.
final payment? Yeah.
The 3,000 is for the finials,
Oh, that's right.
and then the 6, Scully has nothing to do with,
Right, Scully's
Scully's the
just the
architect.
architect.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there a motion on these?
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
But while we're on the subject of
None.
decline,
Motion carries.
Mike, could you come up for a second, please? I believe we're having some issues, not the same issues that we were having prior to the construction, but now a new issue arose, and the water coming in from the louvers, correct? It was what? Yeah, all right. So, Carrie, can you reach out
I
to?
have, I'm waiting for a call back.
You are, okay. And then reach out to Mike and try to get a time together where you can meet with the contractor also and explain what you found to be happening.
For purposes of your own edification, I met with Mike when I first discovered 4 weeks ago, and I gave him a guided tour.
Yeah.
He did claim to have, and I have seen it because I put my hands in it, and they were all silver. He put that metallic roofing material on up at the top, the belfry that you brush on. Unfortunately, I popped my head up there last night, and it's great if you want a swimming pool. I mean, this is coming in, and the north wall, which wasn't affected the last time, it was in southwest, one of those the last time, was completely drenched. It was pouring out. You can see by the photos. It actually went down on the insulation on top of the radioize detector in the office down below. So there's a lot of water.
So how did it,
Well,
would plastic stop that, Mike, or?
Carrie,
If you had something to, if it were up to me, I would put some kind of a bevel out there with drains out the side and PDAM material up there. It's not gonna take a lot, but that silver stuff just doesn't cut it. It's,
yeah.
in a year's time. My fear is given the way the water is coming in, we spent a considerable amount of money on it. We're on hope for 5 years to take care of it. We'd be ashamed if in 5 years it was just
Right.
Carrie and I we were talking earlier about this. We're having a similar problem upstairs of the tower here. And how they resolved that was basically just put plexiglass on the interior. So,
That would keep the pigeons out too.
It would.
This is a good gap of about 18 to 20 inches from the last louver down to the sill.
Right.
And that's where you see the little
Right.
railings, but there's nothing there. Now, I can understand in a driving rain it's gonna go through, but 2 nights ago, or last night, it was just coming down straight. And this morning at 6, I was up there at 6 o'clock this morning as well, and you could still hear it dripping. It was pretty wet.
Right.
Did
So
they,
what I did upstairs here is I went up and I put down plexiglass down the whole length of it, all the way around that.
did they remove something that was there previously?
No.
That it's coming in?
No, it was just basically top paper over up near the bell, and he put the weatherproofing material on it. But it's still, because of the pitch, it is pooling at certain areas and collects. If the wind blows one way, it just puddles and it can go maybe 4 or 5 inches deep and it just sits there until, water is going to find a way to seek its own level and just go right down. Gravity prevails.
Right, but it didn't do that before, at least not to that extent, right? I mean,
Clock watching before, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah, we're not, there was so many leaks up there before that
I know.
we don't know exactly where they were coming from.
Photos, you can just see the stain and the tannins that are leaching out of the wood. So it's been going on for a while.
yeah,
And that would account for all the rotted boards and boards in front of the west face over here.
All right. So Carrie, you did reach out, so we're just waiting for a call back. All right. So,
Get all of Mike.
yeah.
Also, one of the things that they're not involved with, but they did put a sticker on it, is the pull down. Okay?
the what?
The pull down stairs.
Oh, okay.
You can see that Jeremy opened it up the other night for me, and we got a barrage of close to 3-inch deck screws just came out. And, being this, so there are some that are not driven in correctly. There are some lag bolts in there, but there are no fender washers on the lag bolts, and it's not square. You and I, when we first introduced
Right.
it, that's a block. But you have to scrape it with a penknife and
Right.
it's not square. So I'm thinking maybe we can get a
Yeah.
replace that as well.
I'd say go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I would too.
To have the material.
Good.
Yeah, I would too. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
Other than that, the clock's sounding great.
One other thing, I'm sorry. Did you get the note on the inch-and-a-half crack and the pot fix in the pot fix?
No.
There's a photo of it.
I have the photos in my office.
Okay.
It's
The
around
new one?
7-minute mark. I'm sorry?
The new face had the,
Interface, right. And one of the things that I noticed is, this is peculiar, but 12 o'clock is not vertically level, okay? In other words, it's not 180 degrees out from 6 o'clock.
yeah,
3 o'clock is not 180 from 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock is not 45 out from 12 o'clock. And why did this happen? Because we used, well, I didn't. Clear plexiglass was used, and it was laid on top the old clock face. So basically, it's sort of like, if you're a history buff, the Japanese in World War II basically replicating a battleship with an unneeded boiler hatch on it.
right.
Okay? They just took what they had and replicated it, and didn't bother laying it out with a protractor or anything else. And so now, that particular clock face will never tell the right time. It's like,
Right,
it's gonna be Mickey Mouse.
right. Well, and, I mean, that is a concern, but the bigger concern is the brand new face is already cracked.
Well, also, what they did because they used clear, they had to make it opaque, so they basically took, I would estimate, probably greater than 220 grit, put it on the local sander, and scuffed it up. Unfortunately, what that does in daylight, if you take a look, it's charcoal gray.
Right,
Okay, and you don't notice it until at night, but at night, it's spectacular.
right,
It's like something very real. But during the day, it's rough to see.
right.
Now, and in addition, I don't know, I haven't seen the bill of materials, so I don't know whether or not they chose acrylics with UV resistance, because that is going to affect them. The sun outside is pretty bright in the morning.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure which acrylics they went with.
Well, like I say, I'm not very good at the bill of materials.
Right.
Now, Scully, in my opinion, Scully, some used to write her on Scully. Who adjourned? This is GC.
Right, right, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
So, Carrie, you've already been in contact with them? Okay, thank you. Next, there's a request in here for payment or reimbursement out of the Robert Lustig Memorial Clock Repair Fund to Mike Coop